On the eve of Battlefield 6, I wanted to take a moment, take a step back, and just kind of glance at this moment in time, as well as kind of think back to the last 2 decades of just absolutely adoring this IP through the good and the bad. I remember firing up my old PC. It was a Pentium 2 Duo, crusted with dust. I was launching Battlefield 2, joining servers to play Strike at Karkand. The open wide skies, the jets, the choppers, the buildings. Even back then, you know, it felt alive. It felt like we were on the cusp of just incredible technology that was able to funnel this many players into a server and have it look as good as it did. It was an insane time to be a kid jumping into the PC landscape. And then came Bad Company, you know, on the console side, sending us into, in my opinion, more intimate fights, destructive environments, that sense of camaraderie with the campaigns. Those early years, in my opinion, for Battlefield really built more than a game. They built a feeling that has just lasted throughout almost my entire life. Battlefield was once about chaos and scale, emergent stories that you just couldn't script, but you would replay moments in your head. Like, I remember we were playing a game of Grand Bazaar on Battlefield 3, and I remember a couple of friends that I went to high school with. I had just graduated the year prior, and so it was nice to reconnect over a game that we all shared a lot of love when we were in high school with Battlefield Bad Company. And we jumped into Grand Bazaar, and I remember Kevin, he was in the LAT with my boy Adam, and they completely ran amok on the entire server. I remember the first time I played Wake Island Battlefield 3, which harkened back to 1942, and I remember just being like amazed, but also just so appreciative that the developers actually took the time to recreate, in my opinion, one of the best fucking maps of all time. The same with Strike at Karkand. If I don't see a Strike at Karkand remake in Battlefield 6, I'm gonna fucking crash out. But then moving from 3 to 4 with all of the launch issues, like move that off to the side. Battlefield 3 and 4 was some of the best fucking times in FPS. It was at a time where both Call of Duty and Battlefield were changing their ways a little bit, and I think Battlefield became more of, I want to say more of an arcade or more of an accessible shooter, and it started to just take over for me, whereas Call of Duty, we had gone through the Modern Warfare 1 and 2 and World at War, and I felt like at that time Call of Duty had started shifting away. Like, they had Black Ops 2, which I thought was at the time like one of the best Call of Duties, but then afterwards, man, we started just going down a really rough track with that IP, but Battlefield was still there to kind of take me through to the launch of a Battlefield 1, which, if I can be honest with you, I think Battlefield 1 did a lot of good things, but I do think that Battlefield 1 was the beginning of the change in this IP. For as gorgeous and immersive as that game felt, I thought some of the gameplay mechanics were a little bit less than, but it was still like there was no competition to Battlefield 1. In 2016, I remember making a video on this channel where I said Battlefield 1 is multiplayer game of the year. But I remember saying, if this game had launched in 2008 or 2009, I don't think we'd be talking much about Battlefield 1. I thought that it was a good game for what it was, but I definitely started to see the writing on the wall. And then, I mean, Battlefield 5, in my opinion, was just kind of irrelevant. I remember going to EA Play in 2018 and being able to play a demo of Battlefield 5 before it launched. And it was just kind of like it was there. I didn't feel anything towards it. And I think at that time I started to fall out of the franchise a little bit because it had been so many years since we had the glory days. And then we all know what happened with 2042. That's when a lot of you guys came on board with this channel. 2042 was a disaster. No matter how you spin it, no matter how you want to talk about it, it was a disaster that could have been mitigated if the shareholders and the people at the top could have got out of their own fucking way, put their egos in check, and just listened to what the community wanted. But man, did it make for some funny fucking montages of bugs during that launch. What a time to be alive. You know, if you think back, the game sucked, but the videos and the content and the memes that were made from that fucking game were insanely funny. And if I can say one thing as a YouTuber who highlighted all of those things and laughed alongside all of you, I was so appreciative that at the very least, We could laugh at the issues. Yeah, we were fucking pissed. But looking back, man, like some of my favorite videos of all time were on the launch of 2042. I have been through every single Battlefield release since 1942. There were a couple releases that I didn't get a chance to play, but for the most part, I have been here through the times where Battlefield was as revolutionary as you could ask for, and I'm hoping that tomorrow's global launch brings us back on track. Battlefield 6 is doing so many things right. They're creating a game that, in my opinion, focused on the fun factor first, and then everything else came second. And while we can pinpoint issues with open weapons versus closed, you know, portal persistent servers versus a server browser, I would love to go back to the days, and at the time I hated it, but I would love to go back to the days of Battlelog where you could log in and actually have the server browser filtered by the maps you want to play. I love that stuff, and I think that that is what PC gaming is all about, is having that choice. But I know that the industry has moved away from that stuff. And while I can focus on the negative and think about all of the things that they did wrong in this game, the fact that I wanted closed weapons, I want persistent servers, I want that server browser, what I really truly want is an FPS to play with my friends again and have fun. And I think they're delivering on that aspect truly the best way that they have in the last decade. And so on the eve of Battlefield 6, guys, I just wanted to say, like, thank you for riding with me and being a part of this community for as long as you have. I am an old school Battlefield head that throughout the last decade or so, I think kind of lost my way with the franchise. And I think a lot of people feel that same way. And while I don't believe this is a true, like, return to form for, like, Battlefield 3 and 4, I do think that there is a heavy influence from the games of old blended with a little bit of a new style for this new generation. Whether you love it or whether you hate it, I'm very anxious to jump in tomorrow, experience the content, not have to play a beta. I'm over the tech tests. I'm over all of that stuff. And so I just want to wish you guys a good Battlefield 6 launch day for all of my community. And just know that if you guys are jumping in tomorrow, I genuinely want you to have the best time possible. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. You guys can come through. We're going to be live on Twitch. They're doing Twitch drops. We're doing a subathon. It's going to be a crazy event. And if I don't see you guys, that is completely fine, because I know most of us are going to be playing Battlefield. I hope that the launch goes smooth, and I hope that we all have a really good time tomorrow, because that's what this is all about. We can get lost in the sauce. We can focus on all of these things that we want changed. At the end of the day, I think they delivered on a very, very solid experience that I want to take some time tomorrow and throughout the next week or so and just appreciate. Let me know how you guys are feeling going into Battlefield 6 tomorrow. It's been a long road. We've gone through so much bullshit with this fucking IP, from, you know, EA telling us not to buy Battlefield 5 if we didn't like some of the directions, to 2042 just being a total fucking disaster that could have been mitigated if they just listened to their community, to, I think, finally, in almost every aspect, I think they finally got the message. And I'm psyched, and I hope you guys are too. Let me know what you guys think down below. While you're down there, leave a like on the video, subscribe for so much Battlefield content coming to the channel. Shout out to every single Patreon member who is supporting this channel. If you guys want to support over there, the link is down in the description below. But at the end of the day, leave a like on the video and let me know your thoughts. Let's talk about Battlefield, and let's just have a good fucking time this weekend. As always, my name is Big Fry. Thank you guys for listening to me ramble, and I'll see you on the battlefield.